Well, hello everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope that all is well. This is Train from Living Intentionally here, and today we're going to talk about immune disorders. Specifically, we're going to talk about what autoimmune disease is and what we can do about it from the perspective of energy healing. So this is something that has become kind of important to me since I've just realized, been diagnosed with having Hallux rigidus, and that is a type of degenerative arthritis. And I'm not really excited about that. It's not something that I had really intended on having. Apparently about 1 of every 40 adults get it after the age of 50. I'm currently 62, so I'm definitely a candidate for that. And so Hallux rigidus. Let's see if I can find a picture of it here. And let's see what it looks like for you. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, there you go. All right, so colloquially, this is called stiff big toe. I think that's kind of a terrible name for it, but it is a form of degenerative arthritis. You can see there on the big toe of the right foot, the bone is rather swollen, and now the toe is kind of cocked off on a bad angle. And it is stiff because the joint there at the base of the big toe becomes filled with bone spur, and then bone tissue grows as the immune system attacks the joint. So this is not really a great thing to have. It does hurt when a person walks, and that is certainly the case for me. So yeah, it's not the greatest. I'm not really happy about it, but there's not a whole lot that I can do except take care of my health as much as I can. The first thing with any autoimmune issue is to reduce inflammation in the body as much as possible. And this is a hugely important aspect for me. So first off, I'm going to be dealing with, diet, exercise, lifestyle changes to reduce to as much of an extent as possible any inflammation that I have. And so, yeah, the first thing that I have to address that is kind of a chronic problem for me is sleep hygiene. I have a long-standing problem with getting enough sleep, and that is something that I really do need to address on a consistent basis. The second thing is that I have been struggling with long COVID for for most of 2023. And so with long COVID is going to definitely be some chronic inflammation. So I have been doing things up till now, but I definitely need to continue and really, really make sure that I take care of things. So yeah, that's basically what we're looking at right now. So let's get on with having a little bit of a discussion about what we're dealing with here. And this is essentially what we want to have a look at. We're going to look at what the autoimmune system disorders are all about. We're going to talk about what the immune system function is and what we can do about it. So the first thing is we're going to talk about is what it is. And basically the immune system is a body-wide network of organs, white blood cells, proteins, and messaging chemicals that all work together to deal with talking, your body has systems talking amongst themselves, and they all work together to prevent germs and other things from taking advantage and getting a foothold in your body and causing issues. It also helps your body heal from injury. Now, the immune system finds germs or other pathogens, keeps and gets them out of your body. Anything that shouldn't be in your body gets destroyed. And it tries as much as possible to limit the damage that anything can do inside your body. Also helps to heal damaged cells. And as you get sick with viruses and stuff, then your body learns what those viruses are doing and it adapts to that. And that is your acquired immunity. So what are pathogens? Well, they're basically anything of the sort of bacteria or viruses that can cause disease. Although it includes microorganisms such as parasites. So if you get bacterial or a viral infection, you can get fungus or parasites. Even cancer cells are considered a pathogen by your immune system. Technically, cancer cells are native to your body. They're not a different kind of cell, but they are unhealthy cells. And part of our immune system function is to find these cancer cells, which are essentially cells that have metabolically gone crazy and they're no longer behaving the way they should. And so your body's immune system is what is responsible for killing cancer cells. So now we've got how the immune system works. And when it's working properly, your immune system does a very good job of knowing what cells are part of your body and what things don't belong. And anything that is not supposed to be there, your immune system activates to kill whatever it finds and then dispose of it. Now, a properly functioning immune system is also going to stop attacking when the threat is gone. And it will adapt by developing antibodies against new pathogens, and then it learns how to identify them. Now, this is certainly something that we all heard about with COVID-19, because when it first came on the scene, nobody had any kind of immunity to it, and then that immunity was developed gradually. And then the last thing is that it sends antibodies to destroy pathogens that enter your body in the future. Now, if your immune system is weak, there are many reasons why that might be the case. And there are certainly a number of conditions that can cause that to be a problem. Now, type 2 diabetes and cancer are both issues that are very common nowadays, and both issues are such that it causes our immune system to be suppressed and compromised. You can also have certain medications that have a negative effect, and it often takes some significant work to restore immune function after your immune system has been suppressed or compromised for any length of time. It can also be caused by a lack of nutrients or vitamins, chief of which we see like vitamin D, C, E, and A. They are all essential vitamins for proper immune function. So, what parts of our body make up the immune system? Well, essentially, we've got, essentially we're going to look at, I just got rid of my face. Yeah, so essentially the biggest thing is that because it's such a huge collection of things, it's important to look at the immune system as kind of a collection of systems. The immune system is really a collection of systems. The chief of which starts off with would be, I guess, white blood cells. Now, white blood cells are made by your bone marrow, and There are many kinds of white blood cells, and they each have, I guess you would say, a different mission. So yeah. The second thing would be antibodies. Now, these are proteins that are made to protect from invaders. They bind to germs, etc., and then cause them to destruct. Then you may have heard of something during the COVID days, the cytokine storm. And cytokines are proteins that are chemical messengers that tell your immune cells where to go and then what to do. And they have various tasks, but chief of which being regulation of inflammation in the body. There's something that's called the complement system. And the complement system is a plasma protein group, and that teams up with cells to defend against pathogens and promotes healing from injury or infection. And the complement system is responsible for cleaning up any dead or damaged cells and performing protein scavenging. Then there's lymph nodes. They're found all over the body. A lot of people have dealt with swollen glands, and those swollen lymph nodes are caused by an infection that builds up in the lymphatic system. And basically what the lymph nodes do are they filter waste from the lymph fluid that is removed from cells and tissues. The next thing would be the spleen. And the spleen stores white blood cells that are created by your bone marrow. And then it also filters blood to remove damaged and dead cells, and it makes new cells. Then we have the tonsils and the adenoids in the sinus area. It's basically, you've got your tonsils located in your throat and nasal passages, and those organs trap invaders as soon as they enter your body. And that is part of, very closely related to the mucosa that we'll talk about in a second. Next up, I guess, would be the thymus. And that's a very specialized organ that is just in your chest here. It's behind your sternum and in front of your heart. And it's a specialized lymphoid organ where the T cells, also known as the thymus cell lymphocytes, and it's where the T cells mature in your body. And then there's the bone marrow, and that is a factory for producing blood cells, both red and white, and it's crucial for our survival. And then there's the body's largest organ, which is the skin. And that is responsible for keeping pathogens from entering the body, keeping our body hydrated so that we don't lose excessive fluids, produces oils and releases immune cells, but also creates vitamin D and protects vitamin B folates. And then the mucosa that I mentioned before. Mucosa lines all of the cavities throughout the body and also around the organs. And the mucosa, as the name implies, secretes mucus that captures germs, etc., and helps so your body can then remove it. So your mucosa, for example, your sinuses where you make mucus and you have to blow your nose when you catch a cold. That is one of the essential lines of defense because it is a primary way that your body detects and attacks and gets rid of germs that come in contact with you. So it secretes the mucus so that your body can remove them. It also emits chemical factors such as pH, antimicrobial peptides, and other things. And it regulates immune response to these pathogens. So the mucosa, for example, would be in your intestines or your stomach lining as well. And these mucosa secrete mucus that line these areas of your body to protect them against damage. So, for example, your stomach acid. If you didn't have a mucus on the inside of the lining of your stomach, then your stomach would literally be eaten away by the stomach acid that your body produces to break down and digest its food, for example. So I guess the next thing would be to talk about some immune disorders. And basically, immune disorders could be categorized. Essentially, the most common ones would be allergies, which is an improper immune response to something that is actually quite harmless to us. So an example of that would be somebody who has like a peanut allergy or a pollen allergy. Pollen shouldn't be something that is typically considered to be a problem, but then, well, a lot of people suffer from these problems. Autoimmune disease is where the immune system attacks healthy cells in the body instead of correctly ignoring healthy cells and just going after pathogens. And this immune response is typically caused by chronic inflammation, where the body is looking for the cause of the inflammation and it can't identify any particular pathogen, so then it finds a site in the body and begins to attack it. I have long thought that there might be some indicator that it may be correlated with a site of injury at some point in the past, or a site of infection or some sort. And that certainly seems to be the case with my own issue that I have. Like I said, I've been diagnosed with having Hallux rigidus. And Hallux rigidus is a type of arthritis, and that is, that is a type of autoimmune disease. And so this site where I have the stiff big toe actually was a place where I was injured as a youth. I've had some motorcycle and bicycle crashes. And so nowadays I'm looking at having to deal with that. And it seems that instead of the 1 foot, or instead of having it in both feet, it's just 1 foot that was injured in the past, which I find kind of interesting. Let's see, where was I? Oh, yes. Primary immunodeficiency. That's something that is inherited from birth. And so those are conditions that impair immune function. And you can have infectious diseases that suppress or compromise your immune function. HIV/AIDS is one such issue. And then cancer. Various cancers suppress or compromise your immune function. And that is especially true for cancers of the blood or bone marrow. Leukemia would be an example of that. So, yeah, these are all quite interesting. Now, the reason why, as I said, I'm curious about this particular conversation today is primarily because of Hallux rigidus and how it is with me. Now, it's an interesting thing, but I don't think that it is a hopeless case. I think the issue with something such as Hallux rigidus is that from an energy healing perspective, you just treat it like you would any other emotional trauma. That is to say that we can treat it from the context. We can give it the approach of an emotional or physical ailment in the same, well, what's the right way of saying it? What's the best way of describing this? Instead of viewing allergies or an immune disorder as being a permanent affliction and then identifying with it, it's best to look at it from the same context as emotional trauma and just treat it as you would any other trauma. And that's something that I've looked at in the past, and I've certainly worked on enough allergy issues in clients in the past, with good success, I might add. In Japan, cedar pollen allergies are something that a huge number of people in the population really suffer from tremendously every year. And certainly over the course of a winter, I actually worked with my wife to help her no longer have to deal with her allergies. And that was quite a successful outcome. And we were very, very happy about that. So that is something that I'm planning on. And I'm going to be looking at this Hallux rigidus from the same perspective. And that is to say, I'm going to be essentially reprogramming my immune system so that it now will shift from having an improper immune response to having a proper immune response. So one of the approaches that non-energy healing has done, like there are practitioners of NLP and hypnotherapy, for example, who have reported having pretty interesting results in terms of reprogramming the immune function. So I will certainly be looking at adopting the same kind of techniques. So having an NLP pattern, having self-hypnosis patterns to work with, but as well just dialoguing with the immune system, opening up and having a really, really personal talk with the immune function so that you can, or I can, convince my immune system to no longer attack the healthy cells. That's going to be a two-step process. Primarily, the first step would be to alleviate as much of the inflammation as possible. Once the inflammation is no longer a problem, then we can start to work with reprogramming the immune system. It really doesn't make a whole lot of sense to try to reprogramming the immune function while there's increased amounts of inflammation in the body. Because at that point, as soon as there's too much inflammation in the body is always going to be looking for a particular cause. So getting back to long COVID, I still have work to do there because I'm still kind of behind the eight ball, as it were, with regard to long COVID. So you could maybe tell from my voice that I've not exactly 100% today. I've just getting over another bout of COVID. So it's been a long 2023 so far, and we'll certainly be looking at trying to reduce the inflammation as much as possible, get my exercise back happening the way I like to, finally getting out and doing some walks now that the weather is nice here in Tokyo. And I'll be talking about this in videos to come and really trying to document all of the steps that I take. And I really look forward to informing you of some good progress. So I guess that's about it for now, and we'll just carry on, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, and thank you for joining me. And we'll catch you another time. Bye-bye for now.